Welcome to Courtland Center Mall. Although a little shy on the outside, I have to say that this mall is an awesome vintage specimen just outside of Flint, Michigan. Come have a look for yourself inside, but watch out. We aren't supposed to be here. This is one of those malls where they don't permit mall walking, and prefer that you get in and out ASAP. Nobody has to know we're here. One thing I will appreciate though is that they are still running the fountain here. Let's have a look at what may be the cleanest water in Flint. Let's get started with the history now. Forest City Enterprises, a familiar name, would get zoning approval from the Burton Township Board to build a brand new shopping mall in the 60s. In October 1968, Courtland Center Mall, originally known as the Eastland Mall, would open with Woolco, Federals, and the Fair. Although there isn't a ton of information on Eastland Mall's early life, it can be speculated that it faced a decent number of hardships, losing Federals, whom would be succeeded by a Robert Hall Village store, which closed in 1977. Fortunately, JCPenney would take over in 1983. Meanwhile, Woolco closed all of its US locations in 1982, and then the Fair would also close up, but get replaced by Mervyn's. In August 1986, Eastland Mall would be renamed to Courtland Center, and would keep that mall name all the way to today. The old Woolco would proceed to get replaced by Crowley's, and by this point, the mall was gaining popularity once more as it gained stores like B. Dalton Booksellers, Kinney Shoes, The Limited, Silverman's, Deck the Walls, Foot Locker, Rave Women's Clothing, and even Things Remembered, just to name a few. Crowley's, unfortunately, would close in 1997, and the mall would begin to struggle once more. Enter the 2000s, and Old Navy would fill in the void left behind by Crowley's. In 2004, Forest City Enterprises would hand the keys over to Tucker Development, whom would begin reconfiguring the mall to keep it viable. Old Navy would relocate in 2005 for bigger and better space, and Staples would come in. Joann, etc. would also move into the mall as well. Even Dunham Sports wanted in on the action, moving into the mall as well. Seems like it was becoming a big box center. In 2006, Mervyn's would close, signaling their departure from the Michigan market. JCPenney, however, saw an opportunity and would relocate to fill in the void left behind by Mervyn's. This would be the rare moment in which JCPenney gave itself a fresh look. This did come at a price, however, closing 3 other JCPenney stores in the region, and during renovations, the roof caught fire, forcing the entire mall to close for the rest of the day. To address the vacancy left behind by JCPenney's relocation, Steve & Barry's would move in May in 2008. Before closing in December that year. Yeah, nice going, Steve & Barry's. You could say that Steve & Barry's, Steve & buried themselves in debt. Okay, that was bad, I know. When Old Navy departed the mall, Planet Fitness opted to fill in the void in 2011, while the cinema would be rebranded as NCG Courtland Cinemas. In 2013, however, Tucker Development finally gave up on the mall and turned it over to an LLC based out of Delaware. And from there, tragedy, as the mall began to practically empty out. Although it dwindled to a sad shell of its former self, it did manage to bring in the Sloan Museum in 2018, which replaced the void left behind by Steve and Barry's. It also obtained a public library for Flint, blurring the line between Burton and Flint. What is interesting of the mall is that even though the interior is incredibly empty, it still maintains a Bath & Body Works, Goodwill, a couple sit-down restaurants, and a handful of mom-and-pop businesses, cementing itself as a sort of mixed-use community mall. I unfortunately don't have much time to go into my personal thoughts on the mall, but while I was here, I did wind up in a conversation with the mall's security guard. Fortunately, this was a nice guy, much nicer than what I'm used to. He was an older gentleman and felt the need to mention how he had to go in for surgery due to water on the knee, and at least he made a good recovery. There was no mention as to whether or not I was supposed to be there, but I did do a little shopping at Bath & Body Works, just in case. I am well aware of horror stories about the mall security from others, however, so make what you will from all of this. But in my case, this lovely vintage specimen went off with no issues. Much better than Detroit. Ew. Flint and Detroit. God, I was insane on this trip. I'm not quite done in Flint yet, however. If you stick around, we might just see the Dort Mall and Genesee Valley Center pretty soon. So do subscribe for that if you haven't already. Thanks for having me, Flint and Burton. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Courtland Center Mall farewell, good luck, and may your water be clean.